We have a truck on the road. Dun, dun. We have a truck on the road. We have one big fat steam truck on the road. Dun, 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 dun. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, no matter what time you're tuning in. And welcome to another edition of Woman to Woman Kitchen Table Talk. And as you can probably tell, this show is the party show because girls just want to have fun.
Yes, we do.
So we want to have fun and we want to know how you have fun. We're going to be talking about how we had fun back in the day, how the youngsters are having fun these days. You know, selfies, no selfies, pictures with negatives. Anybody remember negatives, or am I dating myself?
Yes, you are.
So with me, of course, are the beautiful Shannon, or millennial, or perennial millennial. And we have, of course, Thea, who's more, you know, kind of our age group, the more seasoned ladies. Yes, seasoned.
The grown-up ladies.
Yes, we're grown up. So I remember back in the day when we used to have fun. We didn't have selfies. Oh my God, can you imagine? We didn't have cell phones growing up. We didn't have cell phones growing up, so we just had to make fun. Now, as little ones, as little children, we didn't have a bunch of electronic games either. So we had to go outside and play. We had to play outside. We got imaginative. Anybody else used to get a little tricycle wheel, stick it in the ground, put another stick in the ground for your gear box, and put a little box on a paint, maybe a paint can beside it, and you're driving the school bus. And you make a sound, right? And everybody behind you, hold on. You're creating your own bus on the road. And you turn and everybody has to lead.
Oh, those
memories, right? But we got really creative with our fun. And we used to do things like that outside. We played outdoors. And
got dirty.
And yeah, all of that good stuff. So that's some of the fun that's lost these days, growing up at least, in our formative years. Shannon, you grew up in a different time. So what do you remember doing, playing, as a little toddler?
I did go outside a lot in my generation, but we also were now introduced to electronics. So we had the little Game Boys, Nintendos, all of that, but we had more fun going outside, meeting your friends in the neighborhood, and just like playing hide and go seek, climbing trees, all that fun stuff, rolling in the grass, getting itchy,
that was good.
But I do have to say, with my little brother, he's the complete electronic childhood.
He's the one that's like this the whole time.
All day.
Yes,
goodness.
all he knows is PS4s and Minecraft and Fortnite, all those things like that.
Wow.
So I definitely see the change.
Yes. So they've lost a little bit of that outdoor imagination.
That adventure.
Yeah, they don't have much of that. Hopefully we can bring some of that back because we need to, at least have them moving around. And
yes.
Thea, what did you do growing up? I know you had way fun. Whole lot of fun.
Well, we weren't allowed in the house to begin with. That right there. So we had to get creative and go outside. Used to play jacks.
Of course.
Oh, wow.
Jacks.
Jump rope.
Can you play jacks? Do you even know jacks?
I know jacks.
Okay.
Yes, the marble,
we have to ask them.
Oh, yes. You know what? Yes, I automatically, the A word, thought that,
Jacks is not, it's not a marble, it's a rubber ball.
It's a rubber ball.
Oh, sorry, I don't know jacks then. I'm
sorry. Okay, you shoot marbles. Oh, yes, I used to shoot marbles.
Shoot marbles.
Shoot marbles, and you play jacks with a little rubber ball, and you bounce, and you're supposed to pick up a certain amount.
See, we played it with the marble, right? And it's like the little, I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like a cross.
Yeah, like So, okay.
You played it with a marble?
I played it with a marble. I mean, we probably created our own rules.
And jump rope, but it was a makeshift jump rope, not the fancy one. We used to peel the bark off the tree and twist it and make jump rope.
Oh, really?
Yes, and tie the knot on the ends so you could hold it and make jump rope.
Okay, maybe that was a country jump rope. I didn't do that.
Yes.
Okay, it was the country.
It was the very
country.
country.
I
very country.
remember doing that, but all right.
That is very creative.
I'm telling you, extremely.
Yeah, because we didn't have a lot of money growing up.
So
and we didn't have a lot of store-bought toys.
True.
So when you're sitting there talking about the driving the truck, oh man. And of course, I was always the driver.
You had to be the driver.
I had to be the driver. I am not a good passenger. So.
I would drive when I was by myself, but if there was a boy playing, of course, the boys are going to want to be the drivers.
Nope,
and then you
the
have to be
boys,
the
no. The boys were not allowed to
They
go
were
in
not
my
allowed
seat. No.
See,
And
I don't blame
I
you.
used to love to climb trees.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because I was a little girl and, was not supposed to. And so I used to sew up my little dresses and skirts. I learned how to sew that because I sewed them up. See, Mommy, the boys can't see my undergarments because I sewed it up.
Stitched.
Yes.
See, that was creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got creative. I was a little tomboy, but I would wear shorts. So I'd wear my little shorts. I was a tomboy because I had an older brother who would be playing in the street. There was a lot of boys way older than I was. And I liked to play football in the street with them.
Right.
Or up at the park. So I'd play a little football, and then we had rounders, we called it. Was it rounders? We didn't call it baseball. It was kind of like baseball, and you had bases, and one person would hit the ball, and then you have to run around, and if they hit you with the ball, you were out. And we had teams, and the people who were the fastest always were on the same team. So anyway, we would play that, and then, we would just be in the neighborhood, walking up and down, stoning people mango tree, in the neighborhood. Well, I didn't really get to go too far because my parents were super overprotective.
Right.
So, but I could, sometimes thief next door, my neighbor next door, jump over her fence because there was a lady that lived behind my next door neighbor who had a big mango tree.
Oh.
And the mango them did sweet as, oh my God, sweeter than sugar. I don't remember what they were. I think they were Bombays, or they may have been bastardized, like a Bombay plus something else. We used to stone that mango tree all day long. And she hated it, but we didn't care. No, teenage years. Well, I was still very sheltered. So I couldn't really go anywhere in my early teens. It was late teens when I broke out.
Yeah.
But teenage years is like, you're still home. But what were you able to do in your teenage years that you think is different now? What do you think, party-wise?
Oh, I know for me, like in my middle school era, so probably from like 12 to 13-ish, that's when teen clubs and everything were starting to come about, starting to be very popular.
Oh, okay.
I was not allowed to go to any of those things.
Of course not.
My mom allowed me to go to the movies. I used to hang out at Sawgrass. That was my fun thing. Going around, like, seeing all the cute people,
looking at
getting dressed and feeling grown, knowing I don't have any access to anything but
no money,
my movie ticket,
and that's it.
And that's it. But still just having that little bit of freedom was really fun. And I remember going to my very first party at the end of my 8th grade. I was 13, so excited.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought I was in the club. I was like, yes, I'm like my mom. When my mom gets ready over the weekends.
What's going on?
It was so much fun, just lots of loud music. And I remember everybody just dancing and being sweaty. And I'm like in the dance circle living my best life. Like, I thought the party would never end. Like, it was a great time. And looking back, I'm like, I miss it. Yeah, I do. I do miss it. Yes. It's a little different. It is.
What about you, Thea? Teenage years, teenage
years, I was not allowed to do anything except wake up, breathe, went to school, came home, did homework, and
went
slept.
to bed.
That was it.
See, we had a similar upbringing because we broke out later on, a little bit later on. Yes. So when I my late teens, I ended up migrating and going to college in the United States, and I went to a party school. Okay, I went to the great Howard University in Washington, D.C. HU bicep.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, that's where I went. Okay. So where the great Puffy came from. That's all about. I was in that party time. I remember that homecoming where Biggie came.
Oh,
that's in the movie. I remember that homecoming specifically. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I was there in the heights of the parties. So I was partying from Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night.
Keep it coming.
Saturday night into Sunday morning, and would go to church. I would walk into the house, shower, because I would hear my mother's voice in my head saying, "Go to church. You must be in church." So I would leave the party at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning.
Wow.
Go home, shower, let me sit down for me about 20 minutes to close my eyes a little bit and be like, nope, gotta go to church. If I can party, I can go to church.
Yes.
So I was taking myself, I got dressed, and my cousins used to marvel, like, how does this girl do this? How are you going from party to party all night long? And when I went to a party now, We're not going there to sit.
Nope.
Oh no.
You walk in, and as your foot hit the floor,
It's time to
is
party.
non-stop dancing
dancing.
till them
Exactly.
turn on the light and say, go home, basically. So that was me. And then I would leave there and go home, shower, dress, and go to church. And then it was a chill out day. Chill, have dinner, go somebody yard, go eat dinner, go home, sleep, do homework, and then Monday morning, you're back at school early in the morning. And I always had 8 o'clock classes because I front loaded my days from ever since. I'm a morning person.
Yes.
So I'd get up early and I can accomplish way more up, between 5 a.m. and noon than most people accomplish for the entire day.
Yes.
So I like to front load my days. So I'd have 8 o'clock classes every single day, and I would never miss a class. Never miss an 8 o'clock class. I'm up. Because once the sun is up, I'm up. So, I'm partying, but it was like Energizer Bunny. I think all those years of not partying gave me some fuel to be able to push through to party the way that I did in college. Yeah, college, those days were, and I'm glad we did not have cell phones and selfies at that time. I'm really happy about that because we didn't have to record any of that stuff. So coming into the 21st century, so Shannon, tell us now, as our perennial millennial, what is it that you do now to party? Because your scene in your teen years is very different from our scene in our teen years.
Yes.
Right? So tell us what you do now.
Honestly, I do have to say I slowed down. I know that's shocking to say being in my 20s.
Okay, before you slowed down.
Before I slowed down, I was a wreck. I mean, there was not one party that happened that I wasn't at. Okay?
Wow.
I don't know if I should be saying this, Mom, I'm sorry, but I was doing a lot of things before my age.
Ooh.
I was supposed to, sipping a little bit of wine. A little something. You know what
before
I mean?
21?
Before.
Ooh, we won't speak of it.
We won't speak
It'll
of
be
the
our
age.
secret.
Okay.
It'll be our secret.
Well, let's just say that I have slowed down now that I have become of age. And
Isn't it funny how that happened?
right. But now I decided to invest my time in things that I do like. So I decided to incorporate the drinking and I'm also a little
wake and bake.
A little wake and bake.
We learned about wake and bake as an adult. Oh, that's different. We'll expound on it later.
In my adventures, so because I love painting and I love sea animals and stuff like that, I decided okay, instead of spending your money going to the club all the time, because that's also very expensive.
Yes.
I'm like, hey, why don't you go to an aquarium, or why don't you go to a museum? I start to take trips. I'll drive to Miami, no problem. Drive back and forth to Miami all the time. That's 2 hours. From your constant back and forth trips. And I'm like, I can take 2 hours to go to Cape Coral or take 3 hours to go to Orlando and experience a whole new city, because it's I'm going to be spending the money regardless. I made time for it regardless. I feel that everything that I'm doing in my city, I can do in a different city and just experience that, So it's take all the things that you usually do, the drinking, the smoking, everything, and just experience that somewhere else. You'll see and discover so many new things. I discovered an entire museum of torture just from randomly going to St. Augustine. I had no reason to go to St. Augustine, don't know anyone. But I found that museum, and I'm like, why not go there? And I ended up going into a complete huge town center, had all these cute little boutiques and different stores and just everything there. It was such an adventure just to explore it, and I enjoyed my day. Just to take that out of my day, I really enjoyed it, and I spent less money than I did in the club.
So do you think then that a lot of your generation is doing that? You're looking to have more experiences elsewhere, or is it just everybody's partying? You may not be partying, but is everybody partying, or are you really trying to find other experiences in other places and travel more?
I think it's a little bit of both. And it definitely has to do with social media. One person is, okay, I'm fine going to the club every Friday, Saturday. They have no problem with it, but then they go on social media and they see oh wow, this person went to Texas and tried all these cool foods, and they realized that they love food also. They just never took the time to invest in that, and go try it. And that inspires them to want to go and expand their horizons. So now you see more people like, okay, for my birthday, instead of going to Miami, since it's so close, they're like, hey, how about I save up some money and go to Las Vegas? Or how about I save up some money and go out of town and still experience it,
Okay, so
that sounds a lot. Because my children are your age.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of what you just talked about, they're doing.
They're
Yeah.
doing now.
And they like going to the museum. And one of my daughters, they love photography.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's doing it for fun because she enjoys it. And that's how it started.
Yes.
Started out for fun.
And now she's getting paid.
Yep.
Turned into a business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at that. So
So-
her fun thing turned into a business.
Yes.
That happens a lot.
And
for
it
a
does
lot of people.
happen with social media too. Like I see a
Yes.
lot of people who just loves food, and they go and they take pictures of their food just because they want to share it with people. And there's like investors and vendors and people coming
Contacting
and want
them.
to, because they're gaining more followings because people are loving the pictures that they took or love the fact that they're always trying new things.
Yeah.
And now you're getting paid and starting a whole career based off of that.
Look at
Like,
that. Look
Just
at that.
just
From
that
doing
is something
things you love.
and
Yes.
having fun with it.
Now, now for me, this time in the 21st century, for me, I've always been a carnival lover ever since I can remember myself. I remember Saturday mornings putting on JBC Radio 2 with the soca music, and I could sing every Sparrow song word
Every song.
forward, everyone.
Wow.
No joke.
From back then. Wow.
From back then, cleaning the house, I have been a soca addict ever since, from I can
Yes.
remember myself. So I love carnival. I always have loved carnival. With COVID, we have not been able to party like we would have liked
Carnival
to.
mommy.
But I had backyard carnival, like no joke.
Yes.
I literally
And
had
that
a
was
backyard
amazing.
carnival, 5-6 friends. We had our carnival here with food trucks, music,
The
like,
drink
joke.
truck.
The drink truck. We made our own drink truck. Like
It even
carnival is a
rained.
thing. We even had rain. Yes, we had rain with the hose. So we did a juve too. You missed
Yes.
the juve. So we didn't play. Carnival is just a part of me. So there's no letting that go. Whether I'm doing it in a crowd of people, which will
Or
not
by
be for a
yourself.
while, or with 5-6 people at home in the backyard. That's
Yes.
fine with me too. So carnival's a big thing. Costumes, the whole 9 yards. I go
Yes.
all out. You've seen
Yes.
my costumes. So that's what I do for fun still. But even with the partying, that's seasonal.
Yes.
Because I don't party like that all the time. Carnival time, there's just no sleep.
At all.
You just party from
4
sun up
days.
to sundown.
Yes.
So what is it now that you do for yourself, Thea? For fun.
For fun?
Now, are you still partying a little bit, or
Not
is it
really.
different? Not so
The things I do for fun, I love to read. I love to exercise.
Okay.
personal trainer? Check her out. Kaoli Fitness. Shameless
And-
plug.
Thank you. And I used to hate to cook.
Wow.
When I was growing up, my mother would try to teach me how to cook.
Oh, yes.
I hated it.
Funny how things
Went through that
change,
too.
right?
And now I actually enjoy, I love cooking. And I love making different meals. You know,
Yes.
I'll see something and I'm like, oh, that looks good. I think I want to try that.
Ah.
And it tastes pretty good. And now people, my family, they eat.
And that
These,
makes you
yeah.
happy.
You know, they eat the food that I make.
And
So
they love it.
and it gives me, the
Yes, that
incentive
joy,
to
yeah.
make it
Nice.
more.
Mhm.
So that's your fun thing.
Yes. So while I'm cooking, I'm listening to the soca music.
Can't leave that out.
Yeah,
we
with,
can't
with
leave
yes.
that out at all. With
Of
a little
course.
bit of adult beverages.
Yes.
Yes. Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers to that. So that's how we have our fun. So fun changes. And honestly,
Yes.
when I'm not partying, I'm gardening because I love to
started
garden.
a garden.
I have multiple. You have to see the patio garden and
Oh,
the backyard
wow.
garden and the compost bin and the vegetable. Yeah, all the raised vegetable garden, the pots. Yeah, it's a whole industry.
Okay.
We'll probably do a show on that whole cottage industry on the backyard garden now. But that's a fun thing too. So our fun has changed. But even for the millennials, when they were partying, they're partying now.
Yes.
The party scene has changed a lot.
It
right?
has.
It has changed for us. We growing up, see, we grew up in the islands. So for us, going out and partying, even then, the boys had to walk the girls home, make sure they were fine. I just heard the stories about it because I couldn't do it back then. But
Yeah.
you'd have to walk the boys would walk the girls home, make sure they were okay, and then they could go on home. And at that time, growing up, whether it was talked about or not, sex wasn't a big part of our fun. Because first of all, your parents put the fear of God in you that you're going to get pregnant if a boy looked at you.
Yes.
And you didn't want to be a teenage mother, so
Yes.
you were very careful to make sure you just didn't do any of those things or tried your best to not go there. But now it's a different world.
Yes.
Right? It's a different world. Women are liberated. We don't have to be that goody two shoes.
Yes.
Because a lot of our parents may have been saying that they weren't doing anything, but
we know better.
under the
know.
quiet, you know, some things were happening. It just wasn't talked about openly. If you did it, it was not spoken of.
Right.
That's changed. Everything's very different now. Women are liberated to be who they want to be and express themselves sexually in a way that we could not do when we were growing up. So how do you find your generation is handling the dating? Because dating now, you know, hooking up is like a thing.
I do have to say that weed is kind of like the new normal.
Yeah, it's like drinking a glass of wine.
Yes. Compared to all, like, you know, the drugs that are out that people are constantly taking. I mean, you have rappers going on about popping perks, and, you know, you hear rappers going on about Xanax and all these things.
And lean.
And lean, yes, that's another very popular one that you will see a lot of rappers drinking, upcoming rappers drinking. Like, it's almost like you smoking weed is just waking up and taking your first breath of the day. Like, it's so crazy.
It's just a part of your
Wake
day.
and
It's just a part of your day compared to how many people are trying and experimenting different things. You know, you
Like
have
mollies.
shrooms and mollies and all those things of the sort. Sex is another thing. It's just like waking up and taking your first breath of the day. I mean, it got to a point where our generation, at least for my opinion, is like, there is no happily ever after. Like, people don't believe in marriages. People don't believe in longevity. People just don't really understand how hard it is to maintain a relationship, to how much you have to compromise and work in order for you to have a relationship.
And
So
just keep moving
as soon as things get hard, they're on to the next, you know, and because
that's new to me.
and because women now are more sexually liberated, more confident in their body, like, this is who I want, this is what I want, so I'm going to get it. You would think that it would slow down the process, but all that it is that it's giving them the strength to not really care. So when they don't care now, it's not like, oh, I don't care, but my guard is up. It's, I don't care, I will have whoever I want.
Whenever.
Whenever I want. At the expense, yes, exactly.
And
like,
not think about the consequences.
you don't think about the
basically.
consequences.
Wow.
You have a lot of baby mamas. A lot of baby mamas for one guy. You know what I mean? Like, at least if you had your one person, you know, one person, you have like 2, 3, 4 women sharing one guy as a baby father, you know? And it's
this
like,
is happening
this is
now.
happening, yes, constantly, rapidly. Like, I could probably show you almost everyone on my social media, almost everyone, where they're sharing a same baby daddy, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't think they really understood just how serious sex is.
It's just,
The
it's
soul
like waking and
ties,
waking. Yes.
the everything that comes apart. Let's just take away the whole STD and everything else. You know, it's such
That's a
an
big thing.
intimate thing. Like,
Yes.
It's supposed to be.
it's supposed to be an intimate thing, and then it's like you're opening that up to a stranger you don't know, to a stranger you just find attractive, right? And then you're wondering why feelings are coming upon you. You're trying to agree to something irrational, like, oh yeah, we're just gonna be friends with benefits. If I'm getting to know you as a friend already, and then we're adding such an intimate act
to it.
of
Then,
course
yeah.
feelings are going to develop. I'm learning
Of
more and more
course.
about you. I'm sharing my body with you, like all these things, and then you want me to continue looking at you, and then when I express my emotions, you know, you go on to say like, oh, but we're
We're just
friends,
friends.
you know,
Right.
and that causes a
Causes
big
problems.
issue, like, because I could just blame men all the time, but women really need to learn when to say stop, you know? And because they don't say stop and create that boundary, they're continuing. They're not using protection, nothing, and then a baby comes apart,
And
you
then
know?
now there's a problem.
And now there's a
because
problem because you
they
brought a
didn't
human
understand.
into the world. Now that baby's growing up learning toxic relationships between you two because you didn't learn how to communicate. You didn't learn how to co-parent. You guys don't even like each other for real. And now that cycle is just going to continue because the baby's going to grow up and say, well, this is what I'm used to.
This is the normal.
You know?
Wow.
Wow, fun has changed.
Fun has changed, yes.
Fun has really changed.
This
This
type
fun,
of
I
fun
don't
does
like.
not sound like fun.
It does
Oh,
not.
it doesn't stop either because you have relationships, right? And then you have sneaky links. Y'all heard of sneaky links?
What?
No, that's
Wait a minute.
Oh,
We're
wow.
getting an education today.
Yes.
Please, share.
I'll wrap it up just a little. But
Do
sneaky
share.
links, you know, this is when people get into a committed relationship, a monogamous relationship, and not really want that commitment. They just like what that person does for them. So they pretty much say, I need you, I need to have you. I don't want you doing this exact thing for anyone else, but I don't really like you like that. So now they're putting on an act to keep the relationship going.
Wow.
But they have their sneaky link, which is the person on the side that they still engage sexual encounters with, hang out with, all of that sort, while still trying to maintain that relationship. And that ends up being a problem too, because sorry,
person in the
men are
relationship.
slow, so they don't really cover their tracks. And then once the lady gets suspicious, you know, everything comes across. Like, and then of course you're building up another connection with the sneaky link. Sneaky link probably has feelings for you, preying on your downfall of your relationship, so she can probably have a shot at it, which I also think is retarded, because what a man will do with you, he would do with someone else.
Somebody
you
else.
know?
While he's with you.
While he's with you. Like, it's
Wow.
yeah, so
Wow.
there's your dictionary word of the day.
Sneaky links.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
tell you, you learn a lot from these
Oh,
millennials.
yes, you do.
This is something different. So the fun has really, really changed, and then it creates a whole nother set
A
of
whole
issues.
dynamic, yes.
Wow. Who knew we were going here?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, so
Just
it's
from trying to have fun.
it's a needle in a haystack when you find your person. That's pretty much what we
Yes.
say. Someone who
Find your person.
actually genuinely wants to be with you, you know, and enjoy your company. Because the truth is this, you always will find someone better, prettier, more money. It will always look like the
Always.
grass is greener on the other side
Always.
until you get to know them. That's why I feel that process is very important.
Very.
Get to know the person. Like,
Wisdom from the millennial.
Yes,
Listen.
yes.
Look at that. Look
Same.
at you, Miss Shannon. I am learning from Shannon's sneaky links.
call me 2021 Gandhi.
You know what? What do they call that back in our time? It was just the outside.
The outside
person.
What, the side chick?
The side chick. The
Yeah.
side chick or the outside chick or whoever that was. Boy, that's changed. Things have really changed for us. So our fun is a little different. But the fun for the millennials has changed. But you know, I think this is the same cord that runs through all generations.
Yes.
The difference now is that we're talking about it.
Yes.
Right.
The difference now is that it's out in the open,
And we don't have to sneak around.
Yeah,
and
we
do
have sneaky
things.
links.
Right.
You have the sneaky link, but the sneaky links are out in the open. I think everybody kind of knows what's happening to some extent, and they talk about it a little bit more
Yes.
openly now, so that everyone knows what's going on. They may not be aware that they're in that kind of situation, but at
Yes.
least
They
it's
know about it,
understood.
yes.
They know that this is what happens
And
now.
it's not taboo to even
Yes,
talk about
exactly.
it
Talk
anymore.
about it, yeah,
you know?
because that changed. So your fun remains the same. You're still doing the same things for fun, or you may change certain things about the things we do for fun
Yeah.
as girls. But we also have to remember that in the back of it is this underbelly
Yes.
that still occurs, and it has been true for time immemorial. This has always happened. Men have always had outside people,
Yes.
and some women too, really, because
Yes.
that's just the way of the world.
Not gonna leave them out.
But yeah, we can't leave this out because we're just better at covering our tracks.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's why I
yes.
said men are a little.
Yeah, a little
Just a little
slow.
slow.
Whole nother show. Whole nother show. So, wow, this has been eye-opening. We have fun in different ways, but the good thing is that we have fun.
Yes.
We want to always maintain the fun in our lives, because then what's the point of living without having a little bit of fun?
Exactly.
What's the point of not being able to party? Like, what's the point of not being able to go dance on a pole if you feel like it?
Yeah.
I like pole dancing. I think it's fun. That's a good
nice.
thing to do. Great exercise. It's
It's on my
probably
bucket
how-
list.
That's how. Oh, okay. We'll talk because we can set it up. So thank you so much for joining us on this fun episode. Where girls just want to have fun
Yes.
on Kitchen Table Talk, woman to woman, and we catch you here next time, same place on IrieTimesTV.com. Check us out. We're gonna continue to have fun, right? Party time.
Yes.
Cheers,
Yeah.
ladies. Cheers.
Woman to Woman is brought to you by Woman's Nest.